Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Keyword Podcast. My name is Juan Jose, and today we have a very interesting topic. We are reading an article called The Impact of Sleep in Learning and Memory. So, I hope you will enjoy this curious and interesting episode. Stay tuned. So, hello everyone. Today I'm glad to be speaking with my dear friend, the...
You forgot my name, didn't you?
No.
Hey everybody, I'm Ray Solorzano. I'm pleased to be here, and I hope Juan remembers my name next time.
Yeah, of course, right.
Just
How
kidding, man.
would I forgot your name, man? All right, so today we have an interesting topic called the impact of sleep on learning and memory, right?
Yeah,
So-
when you don't sleep enough, you tend to lose memory. Have you been sleeping enough, Juan?
Yeah, no, I think I didn't sleep enough yesterday, so I'm going to
So this is
blame
going to
the
be an
lack
interesting
of sleep.
topic today. Yeah.
So, all right. This was written by Kelly Capello from the University of Pennsylvania. For many students, staying awake all night to study is a common practice. I can confirm that. According to Medical News Today, around 20% of students pull all-nighters at least once a month, and about 35% stay up past 3 in the morning once or more weekly. Jesus Christ, man. I think that I'm 27 right now. Well, I'm near 27, and getting
Man,
up or staying awake until 3 in the morning is like impossible to me already, you know?
I'm not even 26 yet, but when I was on my 20s, early 20s, 2021, early 22s, I'd say sleeping during the day and being awake all night was a common practice. When I was working, I was starting to take seriously my drawings. So in order to draw without, Nicaragua is a very hot place to live.
Yeah.
I don't have an air conditioner, so working on a computer at your home when there's 36 Celsius degrees, I don't know how much that's in Fahrenheit, but let me tell you, it's quite a lot. I started to work at night. I'm more relaxed, no one's calling for me, no one's asking stuff for me. And of course the weather is nicer at night, so it became a common practice for me to work at nights, to work at home at nights, and I started to sleep during the entire day. Like I went to sleep like 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. when the sun was rising. Like when the birds started singing, that was my sign to get out from the PC and go to sleep.
man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
do
I
you
don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're still like a night owl.
I am a night owl, but I don't go to sleep at 6 a.m. anymore. The latest I can go to sleep is 3 a.m. I've been working until 2 a.m. sometimes, but I usually avoid it. Yeah, I cannot take it anymore.
So let's continue with the article, right? That being said, staying up all night to study is one of the worst things students can do for their grades. In October 2019, 2 MIT professors found a correlation between sleep and test scores. The less students slept during the semester, the worse their scores. So, why is it that sleep is so important for test scores? While the answer seems simple, that students will simply perform better when they are not mentally or physically tired, the truth may be far more complicated and interesting. In the last 20 years, scientists have found that sleep impacts more than just students' ability to perform well. It improves their ability to learn, memorize, retain, recall, and use their new knowledge to solve problems creatively, all of which contribute to better test scores. Let's take a look at some of the most interesting research regarding the impact of sleep on learning and
Memory.
memory. So let me ask you: do you have like a personal strategy to study, or a personal strategy to memorize something?
It's a great question. I learned too late that I don't memorize stuff by reading ever.
Okay.
Never. I cannot. So
Really?
that's where I stopped reading to study, but instead watching video essays or uh, if they exist, watching documentary or audiobooks. That's how I started actually learning when I wanted to take seriously my studies. When I studied graphic design, reading theory was a bit complicated because you have to be reading a lot of books that, of course, they had visual stimulation, but
Yeah.
I learned by visual or audible stimulation.
All right.
That's how I learned that in order to learn things, to memorize stuff, I have to watch them moving or having something like it makes sounds. I'm sorry, and
Yeah.
my English is failing right now. Maybe I didn't have enough sleep
Don't worry
today.
about it, man. So
But
that's very interesting, you know. So you think that you learn a lot better by hearing things and not by reading
yeah,
reading
I'm
them.
a better listener, I'd say, than a reader. Like, even when I read, because I used to read a lot of a child, but I used to read graphic novels, I used to read comics,
Right.
but not too many
So
books.
let me like take a different path in here because I'm really interested in this topic. When you imagine things, do you most of the time you think in words or in images?
I almost don't think in words
Right.
at all. Most of the time, I think about people struggling with a particular issue, and that's how I learn about that issue and why is it an issue and
But
how we can.
when you think about that stuff, what's going on in your head? An image?
Yeah.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
image. Not
For-
like someone is talking to you in here, but it's showing you like
Yeah, exactly.
pictures
Like,
and
for example, in order to prepare myself for this podcast, I pictured a student like staying up all night trying to study, and at the very next day, even if they memorized the information they had to, the information. They will not be able to write it or understand it because they did
Alright.
not have any good sleep. So I imagine them at the next day just staring at the paper and then, yes. So
yeah. That's interesting,
I
man.
picture a lot of stuff by images.
Yeah, interesting.
What
You know,
about you? Do you think in words?
I think that most of the time I think in words, you know.
Huh.
I think in words, and sometimes I do visualize like images in my head, but most of the time I think I think in words. Yeah, that's very curious and interesting. And by the way, I do learn better by reading something. Yeah. So interesting, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
it's-
So
it's
let's
interesting.
continue with the article. How does sleep improve the ability to learn? When learning facts and information, most of what we learn is temporarily stored in a region of the brain called the hippocampus. Some scientists hypothesize that like most storage centers, the hippocampus has limited storage capacity. This means if the hippocampus is full and we try to learn more information, we simply won't be able to. So this is like very similar to the way computers work, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, the hippocampus will be like the RAM, and when you go to sleep, it's like when your laptop or your desktop PC restarts. So the RAM empties itself in order to store the new information in the actual storage. So this is why computer engineers and experts always tell you to remember to restart your computer from now and then, because that's how you clean the RAM. So
right.
when you go to
That,
sleep,
that would be like the sleeping computer.
that will
and-
be
All right.
That's how
Interesting.
the computer go to sleep. and that's very similar it's very similar to what we do. Like we go to sleep, and the information in our hippocampus goes back to the, I don't know, how do you call the storage in the brain? Is it limited?
All right, so the long-term storage, I'm sorry, I'm not a doctor or anything, and I don't think this is right, but maybe it could be called the neurocortex or neocortex. I don't remember exactly.
I don't have enough information to say that it's not, but I also cannot confirm that.
But the important thing is that the hippocampus is like the short-term storage, and this other part of the brain is like the long-term storage. Very similar to computers, and well, I don't know. What shall we continue?
Sure.
All right. So, how does sleep improve the ability to recall information? In the last century, scientists have tested this theory many times, often finding that sleep improves memory retention and recall by 20 and 40%. That's a lot, man. Recent research has led scientists to hypothesize that stage 3, or non-rapid eye movement sleep, or slow wave sleep, may be especially important for the improvement of memory retention and recall. So I was talking last week with a friend of mine that I met here in the academy. His name is Jordi Torres. So hi Jordi, how are you? I hope you're okay. So what he told me that he did a little research about this topic and what REM and not REM means. So basically, first we have non-REM. That is when our body is relaxing and our mind is also relaxing and relaxing. So the brain activity slowly decreases, right? So the non-REM is when we have the lowest point of brain activity. And this is where, according to this article, this is when the memories in the hippocampus are relocated to the long-term memory storage in our brains. But when then we come into REM, that is rapid eye movement, that is when we are at the top of our brain activity. So not generally, always, while we are in REM is when we are dreaming and our brains are very active. And I think we talked about it last week. Like you told me that usually when you wake up, you feel very creative.
Oh yeah, I did tell you that. So as soon as I wake up, my brain is already working. Not my body though. My body takes an hour to restart. But definitely, I'd say I don't like to call myself a creative person, but I guess that's what I am.
Okay.
So yeah, like a minute. As soon as I wake up, I'm already reading messages and giving my thoughts about social issues, topics, or someone while I was sleeping asked me what do you think about a series or a movie, and like I'm still in bed and I'm already giving my review because my brain just starts like this.
Okay, interesting.
But not my body.
So maybe you're getting up at this stage of sleep that's called REM. No? So you wake up and your brain is already at its top capacity. Its top capacity. So that's kind of interesting. But this means that if you like go to sleep and wake up, a little earlier, and your brain hasn't even get to the REM stage, maybe you will wake up like sleepy and your mind.
That might be when I was a bad student. That might be the reason I was a bad student, because I remember like this is something that only happens to me now as an adult, that I work from home and when I want to, because I don't have a schedule to work. I do have to finish whether if it's a drawing or graphic design or anything else I'm working at the moment. But the thing is, I go to sleep when I feel like, and I wake up when I feel like, unless I have something to do earlier in the day. But usually I wake up when I feel like it's time to wake up.
Okay.
So I didn't get to do that on school, and that might also be the reason why I remembered that my body was going in automatic, like entirely by muscle memory. Just wake up, take a shower. It doesn't matter if it's cold. Just take a shower, dress up, you go take your breakfast, wait for the bus. If you feel like you can sleep a little more on your way at school, and you have to be there at 7 a.m., and your brain has to already be working, because at 7 a.m. you're already taking classes.
Yeah, maybe. See, yeah, so that's how like our brain works. It's like, and it's a cycle also. It's not like we have just one phase of non-REM and one phase of REM. Let's say that you start your night here in non-REM, right? So your brain activity is low. Then you go to REM, this is when you start dreaming. And usually, I don't know if this has happened to you, that dream, like, it's over, and then you go to relax again, and then another dream, that could be a different dream, or the continuation of the same dream. So that's what happens at night. And I think it's funny that, I don't know, I had the idea that sleeping was just like, like an activity, a simple activity that we did, and that our body, obviously, as we are not moving, our body was resting and getting some energy. But a lot of things happened here. So thank you, Jordi, also for this information. I really appreciate it. And what do you think about this cycle? Have you ever had these multiple dreams in the same night?
Oh yeah, definitely, all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. Like,
it's very common.
The hard part of this is to remember all of them.
Yeah, it's
you
very
usually
hard.
don't remember all of them. You have to from 2 to 3 different dreams every day. But yeah, my dreams are weird enough to not remember all of them. But yeah, when you go to sleep, what's going on inside your head? That's your brain is reorganizing the information you learn during the day, or the ideas you have in mind at a time. Maybe you're thinking about something, maybe you're thinking about someone, maybe you have a lot of anxiety, and you just go to sleep because your body is too tired to continue being awake. But your mind isn't at peace, so you start maybe having nightmares, or maybe you have dreams where your anxiety always beats you and stuff happens, bad stuff happens in your dreams. So that what's going on in there is that your brain is reorganizing that information.
Yeah, man, sleeping is like important to process memories, emotions, restoring energy. Yes, you're right. Well, let's continue with the article. Man, this is such an interesting topic, All right. How to sleep, improve long-term memory. Scientists hypothesize that sleep also plays a major role in forming long-term memories. According to Matthew Walker, professor of neuroscience and psychology at Berkeley, MRI scans indicate that slow brain waves of stage 3 sleep serve as a courier service, transporting memories from the hippocampus to other more permanent storage sites.
See, that's what I told you. It's exactly the same that computers do.
Yeah.
When you're working with a program, it's stored in the RAM. And when you save something, it goes back to the internal storage.
Yeah. It's exactly
the same.
Yeah. So, how does sleep improve the ability to solve problems creatively? Many tests are designed to assess critical thinking and creative problem-solving skills. Recent research has led scientists to hypothesize that sleep, particularly REM sleep, plays a role in strengthening these skills. In one study, scientists tested the effect of REM sleep on the ability to solve anagram puzzles, an ability that requires strong creative thinking and problem-solving skills. In the study, participants solved a couple of anagram puzzles before going to sleep in a sleep laboratory with electrodes placed on their heads. The subjects were woken up 4 times during the night to solve anagram puzzles. Twice during non-REM, and twice during REM. The researchers found that when participants were woken up during REM sleep, they could solve 15 to 35% more puzzles than they could when woken up from non-REM sleep. They also performed 15 to 35% better than they did in the middle of the day. It seems that REM sleep may play a major role in improving the ability to solve complex problems. Yeah, it would be interesting if we knew like when exactly we are in REM sleep, and you know that we could just, let's say we have to solve a complex problem, and that it's something that during the day we couldn't do, and it's getting very difficult for us. So it's like you go to sleep, and in some way, let's imagine, I don't know if this is just sci-fi, but let's imagine that you had, I don't know, a bracelet that monitors the activity in your brain, and when it is at your top, that it wakes you up so that you can solve this problem that you couldn't solve in the middle of the day.
I think some smartwatches already do that.
Yeah?
So I don't happen to own one of those kind of smartwatch. I do own a smartwatch, but it's a very basic one. It doesn't do that. But if you could get one of those smartwatches that monitor your sleep, it will be interesting to have one that wakes you up in different stages of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'd say there's in fact a difference, and when you wake up in different points, like as I was saying earlier, when I was at school, I used to wake up before my sleep cycle was completed, so I tend to play down most of the day because my brain wasn't working properly. I usually even fell asleep on classes.
So you went to bed like very late in the night, and the non-REM stage takes hours,
Oh.
Yeah. So maybe you were going to bed very late, and as you say, maybe you didn't even get to the REM phase. Yeah, that's an interesting hypothesis. Yeah. I'm going to buy a smart watch for you and wake you up like an entire month just for the sake of science.
Please
What
don't
do you
that.
think?
Okay. Just don't do it. I'm gonna
Okay,
kick you.
I'm going. Well, we'll talk about it later, right? Okay, let's finish the article, right? So
So what's the point?
So what's the point? Do you want to read the last part of the article?
All right.
Yep. All right.
All right. So what's the point? Sleep research from the last 20 years indicates that sleep does more than simply give students the energy they need to study and perform on tests. Sleep actually helps students learn, memorize, retain, recall, and use their new knowledge to come up with creative and innovative solutions. It's not surprised that the MIT, that's where Iron Man studied.
What?
You know that? Yeah, Iron Man studied at the
obviously,
MIT, so this must be important. It's no surprise that the MIT study previously mentioned revealed no improvement in scores for those who only prioritized their sleep the night before a big test. In fact, the MIT researchers concluded that if students want to see improvement in their test scores, they have to prioritize their sleep during the entire learning process. Staying up late to study just doesn't pay off. Interested in learning more about the impact of sleeping?
Yeah.
Dude,
Sorry, man. I forgot to cut that out.
You forgot to cut the last thing out.
Yeah. But I think that that sums it up. Like staying up late to study just doesn't pay us off, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think it's the most common practice in students, you know, like studying
Yeah,
the
we all do
night
that.
before.
Yeah, we all do that.
Yeah, we all do that. It's at
The
some
thing about
point.
studies is that they tend to be scary. Yeah, they tend to be scary because teachers and parents put a lot of pressure on the students, so they lose interest in actually wanting to learn.
Yeah.
But instead they memorize. And the
Yes.
thing when you memorize something, you don't learn. You don't internalize what you're dealing with.
Yeah, it's like the debate between memorizing versus understanding. Yeah?
Exactly. So recently, I had my first experience as a teacher,
Right.
and I'd say being a bad student my whole life had given me tools to be a better teacher,
Okay.
because that's how I understand that the education system wants you to memorize, to repeat, but it doesn't needs you to understand, especially when it comes to social issues or when it comes to art or when it comes to language.
Yeah.
They want you to memorize information so they can approve you, but you don't need to learn or understand what you study to be a good student. All you need to be a good student is memorize stuff. So that's where I started asking, are good students necessarily smart people or intelligent? Like, I'm not so sure about that anymore.
Yeah, well, my take on this topic is that memorizing is actually a good learning strategy, but it's not for all people. And that's the problem, you know, that the strategy of memorizing leaves behind a lot of students, you know, as you say. Yeah, and that's basically my take about this topic, you know. Yeah, I agree with you that we have to be more inclusive in the ways we are teaching in the
Teaching,
classrooms. Yeah, but well, thanks for sharing, man. And I don't know if you want to make a conclusion about the sleeping topic.
Huh. I'd say that, I mean, it's obvious to say that having a good sleep schedule is important, but also I'd say that we need to think about how we face our studies. Of course, it's important to approve, and when we are studying, all we're thinking about it isn't learning, it isn't understanding, it is to approve.
Yeah.
And I understand also that there's pressure from our teachers, from our parents, from our grandparents, from everyone around us. But I'd say let's focus a little bit more on understanding and learning instead of memorizing. Because when you go to sleep late, all you do is memorize, and all of that is going away sooner than you think. So let's have healthier sleep schedules,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
try to learn and understand.
Yes. Well, my conclusion would be that even if you are a student that needs to memorize or a student that needs to understand, both of these strategies requires it requires that your brain has some room for new information, right? Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that's the key element of this article, and
Yeah, that makes sense.
we only can get obviously this room or this space and this impulse, I think we could say, this push. We can get better results simply by having good sleep habits. So I think we could wrap it up, man.
Yeah, that's it for today.
And that's it for today. Thank you again for joining me in this
Always.
interesting topic. So goodbye, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you in the next one. Bye bye.